Now 250,000. Now, but you get 275. High, but you get 275. 3. Now 300,000. Now 3 1/4. 325. High, but you get 3 1/4. But you get 325. Now half. Now, but you get 300. And hello, and welcome to a live edition of the Mike McGavel Jones Show. And we're broadcasting live from Lincoln Center here in Dallas, Texas, at the intersection of the Dallas North Tollway and the LBJ Freeway. We're glad to have you all with us today. We've got an interesting show. We're going to tell you some things about the auction industry and a personal life story, and just it's an all-around deal. And so we want to welcome Anthony Azizi today. And Anthony, good morning.
Hey there, Mike. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Good to have you on. Zach?
How's it going?
There you are.
Yeah,
How was your weekend?
That was good. I went to a graduation in College Station, A&M, funny story, and 2 company Christmas parties. So it was a crazy weekend for me. A lot of steak, a lot of fun. So yeah, that's me.
So funny story. College Station, funny story?
Yeah, College Station A&M. George H.W. Bush, we talked about him on the show, passed away, and he was laid to rest at A&M. And the president of A&M at this wonderful three-hour graduation had no problem taking a half hour to explain to us the life and times of George H.W. Bush.
Oh, boy.
And while I appreciated it, at the end of 2.5 hours of watching people walk across the stage and hearing names called, man, I was not in the mood to hear about George H.W. Bush. But it was a sweet thing. Very kind. A&M, very, very, very professional. So yeah, that was
Zach,
that.
why so angry?
Oh, I'm spitting vinegar today, Mike. You don't even know.
Wow.
Yeah.
My gosh.
It's a dark day in the control room.
Whoa. And you went to 2 parties?
I did. Yeah, 2 Christmas parties. Both serving, which is not a thing everybody's doing these days. You know, some people say, well, you shouldn't have alcohol at parties, but they were very, very kind. Nobody did anything wacky. It was a good time. Yeah.
Nobody did anything wacky?
Yeah, wacky. You know what I mean?
Wacky tobacco.
Not a very good party.
Sorry, Mike.
Mike, we're on Facebook. Come on.
Well, you know, this weekend just kind of blew by. It really did. I did run into your boss and his lovely wife.
Oh, yeah.
Over the weekend, and they were exiting. You know, the holiday season, and you know, I like to go to Three Forks. I don't mind putting a little plug in there for my friends there.
It's a good place.
But they shut the place down for about 5 parties. So literally the public couldn't come in.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Fortunately for me, I know how to bribe people. And,
not just the public.
Well, I just pretended like I was supposed to be there.
Right.
I'm finding that works really well.
Did you crash Three Forks? Is that what I'm hearing?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. And they go, well, we don't have any tables. I go, well, it's okay. Just give me a chair. Well, we don't have any chairs.
I'll just stand.
It actually was the night of the Kansas City game.
Ah, okay.
Which had to be one of the best football games I have seen in forever. And unfortunately, it did not go our way because I'm a Kansas City Chief fan, of course, since United Country's headquarters is based in Kansas City. But that's not the reason. My mother was always a big Kansas City fan. I liked Kansas City going back to the Super Bowl that they won and all that. That's another story for another time. I want to get into today's show. And someone's going to say, what's up with the you lose your razors? And, you know,
that.
Well, so I did. Yeah. So I'm going to go into winter mode for at least a couple weeks, maybe 3. I don't know. Just depends. You know, it was this time last year that I kind of grew a beard. And then the problem is when I grow a beard now, I'm like somebody's great-grandfather.
Right.
You know, because it's like it's not like yours, you know, which is, you know,
Scary.
Well, looks like a hairpiece. And that's enough of that. Okay. Anyway, so I want to get into the show, and Anthony, what I'd like for you to do, of course, I know most of your history. I don't know it all. But I'd like for you to talk about where you grew up and kind of give me your background.
Sure. I was born in New York, and but I grew up basically in Texas. You know, so I've been most of my life. I've been here in Texas, and Irving, you know, not too far away from here actually. That's where I grew up at, and you know, not of best of history. You know, I've gotten in my trouble, you know, back in my days, but that's really it. You know, so pretty much Texas. Yeah. You know, it's been my home, I guess.
Do you have family in New York?
I do. You know, not distant family, I guess you can say. You know, I really don't talk to them, but yeah, I do. Yeah. I have family in New York and California and Nevada, and North Carolina.
It's kind of like our people, you know,
Right.
circus people.
Right. We're everywhere.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because nowadays families just go everywhere.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's very unusual to find a family that all grows up in one place and stays.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas that was the norm, you know, when I was younger.
Yeah.
Nobody went anywhere.
Right.
They had no gas. Couldn't go anywhere. So you kind of grew up in Irving.
Right.
And so what happened after that? After when you got of age?
Right.
You know?
You know, I had decided to settle down, and I had my kids, and kind of explored different routes and different career type things I wanted to get into, and went from the car business to once the car business, then to the auction business, and so I've been doing this for about going on 6 years now.
So
the online auctions.
What year did you come to auction school?
2012.
So you came to the which was at the time Texas Auction Academy, which is now America's Auction Academy.
Right.
And you were in which class were you in?
It was October
of 12.
October 2012.
October 2012. Okay. So how did you decide to get in the auction? I mean, what? Because people ask me that all the time.
Right.
How does somebody decide they want to be an auctioneer anyway?
With me, I just I love the whole art of wheeling and dealing,
Yep.
and buying and selling, and and helping others,
Yep.
which is really important. For our line of work, and that's what we always have that opportunity of being able to help so many people, all the time, so and that's one of my favorite parts.
And I know, and you do like to wheel and deal.
Oh yeah,
So that's kind of your thing.
My forte.
I've seen some of your deals. So you started a company.
Right.
Now, did you have it before you came to auction school, or did you start it after?
I did. I had it under my, when we first started out, it was Azizi Auction House.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted a really simple operation. And, once we started, rolling, once I came into auction school, it lit a fire, under my behind,
Yeah.
and I went full speed after that.
So now you had this auction facility or
Right.
auction house. Now, that was in Louisville, is that right?
It was.
I
in
think I
Louisville.
was over there at least once.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You were. Yeah.
And so, but you were doing online auctions.
Right.
So your deal was you would go out and buy estates or buy inventories or buy whatever,
Exactly.
take it to the facility, and
And
do an online auction.
Exactly. And we did live auctions too.
Mm-hmm.
We did some live auctions there, and I had the whole setup. But we just through time we just kind of veered
Migrated
off.
on-
Exactly.
To online only.
Exactly. We do mostly online only now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying that we won't do live,
Mm-hmm.
because there's still a large demand for live auctions, but we do online mostly.
Why do you do that?
As far as online, or
Yeah. What? I'm being specific to you. I know what other people have done. I know
Right.
what my philosophy is.
Right.
And I see the trend. I think we all see the trend.
Right.
But what was it for you that determined? Hey, you know what? We're gonna really push the online.
we went from having, I think it was a total registered of maybe 150, bidders, to, and that was within a 6-month time frame of live auctions. From that to now, we're pushing over, a little over, coming up on, it's like 37,000 some odd bidders.
No kidding.
That we have on our site now that bid at all times. So it's a whole different. It's a whole different crowd, I guess you can say.
What's the difference as far as the return on the dollar on items? So let's just say pick an item. What's a
Right.
typical item you'd sell?
I mean, we've sold basically everything. We've sold anything from, your regular pots and pans,
Yep.
to antiques, high-end antiques, guns, coins.
So if you have, let's just say you have a refrigerator.
Right.
And let's just say retail, it's a $800 refrigerator.
Right.
Not a very expensive one. The difference between doing a live event and doing online only, where you've got 150 versus the potential of 37,000 people taking a look at it.
Right.
What's going to be the difference, you think, in price?
I would say, when you're doing live, you're gonna get, you're gonna draw up that competitive, when there's two people there live, they want to compete against each other, so you get that to go up there. But when you're doing online, you have more of instead of having to worry about those two people, now you got several dozen people that are wanting that same exact item, and they don't care. You know, they will. You know, I've seen items that bring almost retail, if not retail, you know, online, and it's convenience, and just I guess people like the whole art of, you know, auction, you know, buying, you know, and the whole bidding online.
So when you let's say I consign a refrigerator.
Right.
I don't know why I'm on a refrigerator right
I don't
now.
either.
So so we're selling a Yeti mug.
There you go.
No. So we're selling a refrigerator, and I bring it to you, or you come and get it, or you.
Right.
I mean,
we do. I mean, you could bring it, or the commission will vary.
And I know you're not a real big one on consignments. I think you prefer to buy projects, and that way you can sell it when you want to, and depending on the season and what makes sense, or clean it up, fix it up, do whatever you do.
Right.
So do people come look at the items, or do they just look at photographs and read a condition report? Or if you're selling let's say you're selling a refrigerator,
right?
What's the process?
You know, if let's say we're doing a refrigerator, depending on if we got to pick it up, you know, if we have to pick it up, or if, you know, if we do a buyout, or if, you know, we rarely ever take in consignments, but if we did a buyout, we'd bring it over there, you know, get it listed, descriptions, you know, list about 15 to 20 pictures, you know, on the fridge. If there's any blemishes, marks, you know, we'll list it on there. You know, of course, it's as is.
Yep.
And then we'll sell it. You know.
Will you tell them whether it works or not?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So really, by the time they bid on it, they know pretty much all there is.
Yes, sir.
Plus, there's so many photographs. If there's a blemish, they're going to see it.
Exactly. You know, they'll know, you know, all the issues, if there is any issues, and we try to, you know, when we bring it back, we try to have the refrigerators running, or, you know, we'll try to have it to where, you know, if it's a refrigerator, if there's an appliance that we can, you know, have, if it's a simple plug-in, we will. You know, this way they can, you know, we'll be able to tell ourselves, because sometimes you never know what happens between, you know, picking an item up, especially, you know, appliances or electronics, you know, from the moment you pick it up to the moment you bring it by and display it and get it sold, you know, so so that makes a huge, you know, difference.
So how many auctions will you do in a year now?
Right now we're in the hundreds. We average about you know, right now this year I think we've coming up on, I think we're a little over, I want to say a little over 130 auctions this year alone. You know, but next year we plan on doubling that. You know? And
in previous years, in the beginning, how many auctions would you do?
We would do, you know, I would just do our personal auctions at about once a week. Then that went to, you know, once every 2 weeks, and then, you know, and then we started doing the estate auctions. You know, to where we would go and, you know, doing an online estate auction, and you know, and it really wasn't being done online here, you know, in the Dallas area until that time frame. You know, and then we started doing it, and nowadays, you know, you've got so much competition out there. You know, it's insane. You know, the people that, but they, you know, there's a difference between people who are doing it for the long run and people that are just getting excited and wanting to do it. You know, they just see that fast.
It's like anything else. It's like, you know, you get a set of golf clubs, you want to play golf every week.
I don't play golf, Mike.
I think I knew that.
What makes you think that?
Some people won't be allowed on a golf course. Yeah. So it's kind of like you are my Caddyshack. Zach, you see how this is going? Yeah.
Oh, it's going. Yeah, I'm
Mayday.
Yeah, excuse me if my mic is turned off. I'm in here grimacing. No, it's good stuff.
Well, if you saw the movie Titanic,
we're sinking fast.
Well, I'm looking for the guy with the cello. No. So when you started your company, Azizi Auction House, and then you created
Texas Clicks.
Texas Clicks,
and that was, you know, again, it was one of these deals where I just wanted to keep a local, you know, bidder base, I guess you can say, and you know, but now, and that kind of scared people, you know, as far as, because we've been trying to do a little out of state auctions as well, and you know, trying to do it bigger on a bigger scale, and so, you know, the past year I've been kind of debating on changing that, and so now we've gone to Assets2Cash, and that kind of, I guess you can say the name is self-explanatory. You know, we turn assets into cash, and we do estates.
Explain how that works.
Sure, Mike, have a seat. It's going to be a while.
I'm not just the president of the Hair Club for Men.
Exactly. But yeah, we and it's been great. You know, we're doing phenomenal. But I just felt as it was, you know, if it was a time for, you know, we kind of kept up with with the growing market, you know, with the constant changes, and you know, because now you have people providing online auctions everywhere, you know, so it's really spreading it thin, you know. So we want to get into more of the business side of, you know, liquidations, and even more so real estate, because you know, ultimately, end of the day, that's what's really, you know, that's the goal to reach to as real estate. And you know, as you and I have discussed, you know, several times, that the real estate deals that we have, you know, that we've done, it's all about, that's where it's going to. You know, so that's what we're.
Your aspirations are to
my what?
Grow.
Deet.
Zach.
Call security. Yes, Mike.
Cue the sniper.
Oh no!
I'm kidding. He took the day off.
It's the holidays.
Getting close to Christmas. No. I think most all auctioneers, whether you're first generation,
right,
whatever, you're starting your company out, nobody's going to give you high dollar assets.
Oh, exactly.
You know, that's
Absolutely.
that's just the way, and it was that way for me.
Right.
I started pots and pans and you know, anything that I could get. I mean, when I look back, some of the things that I had to sell to survive, kind of crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's been up and down. It's insane. Yeah.
So I know you're retooling your business.
Yes, sir.
I read you put some stuff out here, I don't know, 6 weeks ago or 4 weeks, whatever it was. I don't remember what it was.
Right.
But you were talking about changing. Well, it's probably been a couple of months, maybe 3.
Right.
You came out with kind of an announcement that, hey, we're changing our model.
Right.
You know, to a different. And you talk about, and I noticed the other day you just signed up a commercial auction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Tell me
sir.
about that auction.
We it's in Garland, and it's a new furniture. They kind of, you know, have they combine 2 places, a resale store and new furniture, retail furniture, and well, they went out of business, and so that's where we come in, to, you know, and so we got the full contract, and we're doing that, and we're also doing Rent-A-Center as well. We picked that up. They're doing a few of their service centers that we're going to be liquidating, and that's kind of the, you know, the route we want to take. You know, there's
more corporate.
Exactly, yes, sir. You know, more corporate and more of the you know, the business, you know, liquidations, and you know, going from there. But you know, at the same time, you don't want to step on toes either. You know, so that's, you know, because you got guys like yourself, you know, that've been doing this, you know, they've been in this industry for, you know, 20, 30 plus, in your case, 70, 80 plus years.
Yeah. We liquidated Grover
Jesus
Cleveland's. Yeah.
So
some of the presidents from the 20s.
Exactly.
They were close friends of mine. Yeah, there was that. Oh,
that was a sad one.
Yeah.
But yeah, but no, we've so, you know, you want to keep that, you know, I think that's another thing a lot of, you know, people get into bad situations where they'll try to get into, you know, other people's territory, or, you know, as far as, when I say territory, I mean, you know, as far as stepping on toes or trying to steal contracts and stuff like that, and that's something you got to be careful with, you know, for in this industry.
Well, you've got to maintain your integrity, or
exactly,
or everybody will just like get away from me.
Right, right, and that's, you know, that's one of the, you know, things that you have to, you know, and that's what I would, you know, advise towards, you know, a lot of people that are getting into the business, or even that are in the business, you know, that just don't, that kind of lack that integrity part. You know, it's you know, you've got to keep that, because that'll take you for a lot further than, you know, a contract will.
I know you have joined the professional associations, and of course, you know, I pushed that very hard at auction school, and you remember the national, and Texas, I'm assuming. What are the, because you came in kind of off the street to do this. Right. So what do you see the benefit? Because this is for, you know, there'll be future auctioneers watching this, and existing auctioneers.
Sure.
And so what do you see as and you've been in the business 6 years, but you know, you can learn a lot in 6 years.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you think the biggest benefit to being a part of these associations is?
You know, I think a lot of people get into these associations with the mentality of what's it going to do for me? Yep. You know, I'm going to get in this association, and I've been in it for a year, going on 2 years, you know, but it's, you know, I've got nothing out of it. But at the same time, these are the same people that aren't really doing anything for themselves, you know. So I think the most important part with doing, you know, or getting into the associations is what you can do for the association. You know, so when I say that, I mean, you know, networking and meeting people and talking with people and, you know, doing the continuing education and, you know, so on and so forth. And I think by doing that, it gives you, I mean, I've learned so much. Like I said, when I got into this business, it's a first generation type deal. And, you know, I really didn't think I was going to do it for, you know, that long. I didn't think it was, you know, again, until I, you know, came to, the school, you know, and then from there, it opened up a whole different, you know, thing for me.
Well, you, I remember when you first came to auction school, you had the name of your business and your tag.
Right.
Was
Junk Commander.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And that I guess you can say kind of grew out of that, you know, because you don't want to. And that was after I think it was after I attended CAI, you know, and it kind of hit me to where, you know, there's, you know, the you kind of last thing you want to do, you know, it was fun and cute at that time,
right?
You know, but you know, the more
the further you go, I told you what I thought, yeah, and I'm just like, dude,
lose it now,
something like that. Yeah. Well, of course, in my thinking was, whatever you call yourself,
right,
it tends to define you.
Oh, absolutely, exactly.
And so, you know, that's kind of where that was coming from.
Right.
But I also know that just like when you go to a convention or your conference and show, or if you go to the Certified Auctioneers Institute, which you alluded to, your new set of friends.
Oh, absolutely.
You made a lot of friends.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're a mixer and you're a natural. You know, I mean,
Thanks.
Yeah, well, I didn't say what you were naturally at, but you're that guy that's in the room that's gonna, you know, you pay attention to people and you like to have fun and cut up, and as you can tell, you know, and people either love you or they go the other way,
right?
And some of that's just personality, you know. I mean, but I think I was there when you were there, so and I was able to see it, and also your post where you're talking about, you know, it's a fine line. I know when you posted that you were going to be on the show, somebody said something about politics or something.
Right, absolutely.
Well, and you know, and that there again, that's a fine line that you have to watch.
Right.
Because
absolutely.
You know, if you get too political, whether you're too conservative or too liberal, then you're losing half of your crowd.
Absolutely.
And so I've always been very conscious of that, and I don't oversell my politics. I tell people what I think, and I do it on the show all the time. I'm very clear about what I believe is right and wrong, and about this country. And Zach will testify to that.
Right.
Right, Zach?
I don't admit to anything. I don't.
He likes to plead the fifth.
Yeah.
There's a disclaimer at the front of this show.
Yeah. Well, we commonly refer to Zach at home, the weasel. So he's posting the views.
Well done, Zach. Well done.
But the views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the Real News Communications Network or Real News PR.
Well said, Mike.
Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Tip your waitresses. Anyway, going back to that.
Right.
You've made a lot of good friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Through those programs.
Oh, yeah.
And I do see an increased ability. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just a maturity. It comes along.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? And I don't expect you to completely become mature.
Right, because I won't.
Because I think we know the reality. But that's wrong. So tell me about what these other future plans. So your deal right now is you're still doing the estates if somebody calls you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's, I'm not going to turn business down. If I can't do it, I'll definitely refer it out to somebody.
Yeah. But you are getting more into commercial stuff.
Right.
Your racking systems.
Right.
Forklifts and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of that in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Right.
And as the economy goes, so goes the auction industry. Yeah. So we really haven't talked about this very much on the show recently. But we're going to probably have a show coming up pretty soon with an economist or someone that's going to talk to us about the economy. I can guarantee you that we're going to have another turn.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was in a group the other day, and they're saying within 24 months you need to be getting prepared for that downturn. So whatever that downturn is, I noticed where the president is talking about shutting down the government because he wants a wall, and the Democrats are saying you're not going to get no wall. And, and while they're building their own wall.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I went through the last one, and Congressman, my friend from South Carolina.
Long?
No, that's Billy is in Missouri. But Jeff Duncan, Congressman Jeff Duncan from South Carolina, he was watching our auction at on Saturday.
Right.
So I'm here. We got the congressman tuning in, watching us sell cars in Dallas. It's kind of cool. And but I sent him a note, and I said, for gosh sakes, don't support a shutdown of the government, because I'm not in favor of that. And I think it's bad policy. But the other thing is, Trey Galloway, who you know, and
he's a good friend of mine. Yeah,
he's a good friend of ours, and his wife. Well, he's a world champion auto auctioneer.
Oh yeah.
And then his wife and son both came through the auction school.
That's right.
Julie and Junior there. So they went through the school. But I went down and did an auction with Trey about 3 or 4 years ago, or 5. I don't remember how.
It was an antique auction that you guys did, right? It was a ranch or something like that.
No. This was a HVAC company.
Oh, okay.
And it's about a $2 or $3 million deal.
Okay.
But it was a direct result of shutting down the government. And I watched this. I watched an implosion take place. So Trey says, I need you to handle the real estate. I think this is something we need to do. Right. And I'm good with that. And he has a real estate company down there, but he wanted the support of our company to do the marketing and me be the broker of record on the real estate. Which we did get done. But the deal was, this was the large, and I sent this message to Congressman Duncan over the weekend. I said, I witnessed this because a man that had built a business over 30 years, over 30 years, he became the largest HVAC provider for Fort Hood.
Wow.
And they shut the government down. And
that kind of, yeah.
Oh, well, it threw his cash flow off. He had, lots of employees. He had just spent millions of dollars building a new building, all new equipment. And I'm watching this guy, and without getting all specific, but basically saw him lose everything in his life, including his family.
Wow.
Now, when you witness that, when you witness somebody who's at the top of their game, and they're brought to their knees by a government shutdown, I can't support a government shutdown because that's just political games, and it's at the cost of the small vendors, our military men, and general employees. I mean, it's just bad. It's bad policy.
Absolutely.
So anyway, but yeah, you're going to see. I think you're going to see. I believe there will be an economic change in conditions in the next 24 months, and then again. If heaven forbid we have to go through any kind of a political change because of impeachment or whatever, because that's what they're talking about trying to do. If that happens, it's going to disrupt the momentum that we have. It's not going to help anything. It's not going to help the general economy. Now it'll disrupt, and that's what I fear. And it doesn't help the real estate business. Because now all of a sudden. People aren't, they're not. Things aren't working. We're not growing. We're lucky. Now we're lucky we live in Texas.
Oh yeah, yeah. We, but even in Texas, they're predicting. I think 2019, mid 2019. I think that it's going to go back to,
There's a lot of cranes up right now, brother.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
Right.
Yeah, because there'll be a glut.
Yeah.
And Frisco is going to be interesting.
Oh yeah. Because their prices skyrocketed. And wow, I mean, it went from, it was insane.
Well, and they just announced that the PGA is coming to Frisco, which is huge. A $500 million investment in a new Omni hotel and two golf courses, just north of Frisco.
I could have got it done for a quarter of that.
Because you are the wheeler dealer. This is Anthony. Hello, PGA.
It's me again.
That's right.
I don't know much about you guys, but
I know this. Let me talk about something on a personal level. Of course, you have children.
Right.
How old are your kids?
10 and 6. I have Layla, which is 10, and I have Hannah, which is 6. Which I think if you follow me on social media, you've seen a lot about them on there. So yeah, they're awesome.
You love your kids, and
well, no.
Thin ice, Anthony.
Zach comes in. Hey,
Whoa.
Zach, what's our disclaimer?
Hold on.
Go ahead, put it back.
Make sure I got that on there. There it is.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the Real News Communications Network or Real News PR.
Yes.
Thank you. So I want to talk about health,
right?
Because you had a weird I had one Memorial Day
I
weekend.
heard about yours.
Which I didn't tell the world about,
Right.
and never put anything on social media about it. But I want you to tell us about what happened to you. And I know you were hanging out with your kids at the state fair, right?
Right. Well, it was just it was probably one of the worst sick times that I've ever had in my life. But went from it just started out with just not feeling too well. Mm-hmm. It started out as a sinus infection, and I had some antibiotics that I took, and
tell me what antibiotics, because I really want to tell this story, because
Sure.
it could happen to anybody.
Oh, absolutely. It was a Z-Pak with amoxicillin. So I'm guessing you can't, take the two, or I'm not sure. But the funny part is I've taken that, several times, and I've never had any issues. Yeah. So the doctor said it could have been, probably due to some dehydration as well. So it started out with just feeling sick, feeling stomach sick, not feeling too well, and within like a week or so, I went from feeling decent to going through jaundice, and we were at the state fair.
Yeah.
And we're at the state fair, and I had my sunglasses on. I brought my sunglasses down, and my daughter was, she pointed out, my 10-year-old Layla, she was, "Daddy, your eyes are yellow." And I was like, "Your mother's eyes are yellow." Don't talk to me like that. How dare you?
Nice.
No, but we then from there, so the next day I set up an appointment to go to the doctor and got some blood work done, and he had the results, and my liver was failing. It was the doctor was surprised that I was still standing, that I was still over there. Then from there, my kidneys were bad too.
So what was the count on the liver?
It was like 1,500 almost, which the normal count is, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like 200 or something like that. So mine it skyrocketed up to 1,500, and my kidney functions were down to like 30%. Mm-hmm. So it was bad. Mm-hmm. So he tried to figure out what was causing it, what was going on, and we did blood work and did the X-rays and MRIs, and he wanted to make sure it wasn't cancer, which that was a big scare that I had.
And he said that to you?
He said that to me on Friday.
How did he say that exactly?
He broke it down very gently. No, we were sitting down there. He just wanted to rule it out because it could have been pancreatic, and as I know you have friends that you've lost to cancer, and I have, and family as well, and it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing.
The big C.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just not that other big thing. It's not scary.
Yeah.
And we did the did the MRIs and everything, and it came out good. There was no cancer, there wasn't any tumors, there wasn't any issues like that. So that was a load off my mind. Mm. So then went back to square one of figuring out, and ultimately it came back to it could have been just the
combination of
antibiotics, and within 30 days I made a 90% recovery, which was insane, but it did. But the fun part about the whole thing was the diet that I was put on, which was high sugar and high carbs.
That's what your doctor told you?
Oh yeah, he told me, so I wouldn't mind, having that, going through that, again.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
With that.
I wish my doctor would say, I want you to eat lots of fried food.
Oh yeah.
Straight sugar.
Oh yeah, I mean it was insane, but after about 30 days I made a recovery, and but it was insane. So people that do, live with liver issues and kidney issues, I mean, I found a whole new level of respect for them, because it's.
Well, I think what people need to understand is these are organs you have to have.
Well, it depends.
Unless you go to a foreign country and they remove them while you're asleep.
Replace it with a toy.
It's like, but I just think, and I think we take it for granted sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think the takeaway message for you, and of course, here we are in the holidays.
Right.
It could be a very different time for you.
Absolutely.
And it makes you reassess.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And appreciate what you got.
Oh yeah.
So when did this happen?
God, I've been good now for about. It happened about 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. It happened.
Very current.
Oh yeah, it happened about 3 months ago, but made a full recovery.
Yep.
And but it did. It just made you think different about a lot of things. Because there was it was just
So now, like today, what is a typical day? Because you're a deal guy. You're always looking for deals, searching for deals. So what is a typical weekday for you?
Well, mostly it's on my phone. You know, from 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. You know, I'm on my phone, wheeling and dealing, and getting referrals, sending out referrals, and meeting people. And normally now I have a team that we send out. You know, to meet clients and get contracted. And
so you figure it out that it's easier to manage
exactly
than to have to do everything.
Absolutely, because I mean, it was a point I was doing everything.
I know,
and it's just I guess it's just that control thing to where I wanted to be a part of every single aspect of everything, and but now it's much easier.
I remember one day I was driving to Texans Can down on 67 on my way to do the car sale on Saturday for Texans Can Cars for Kids.
Right.
And this guy in a pickup that says Texas Clicks passed me at about 120, clicking right along. And it reminded me of how I used to be years ago when I was an independent operator, doing everything. I mean, literally booking it, signing it, whatever was required. So, yeah, I empathize with all the auctioneers and the deal makers that live through that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. It's a blast. You know, it's a lot of work that goes behind it.
Yep.
You know, and what I would suggest, for all the new guys that are getting into the industry, just stick with it. You know, you're gonna have rough times. You're gonna have times that you're gonna hate. You know, but just stick with it. You know, in the long run, it'll pay off. And join your associations.
Yep.
You know, local associations, national associations. Join it. Be part of it.
When you advertise an auction, so people know, how do you typically advertise an auction? Because things have changed dramatically.
Absolutely.
In fact, we're changing how we teach that class. All the marketing. We're I'll tell you this. We are getting ready to bring in a marketing company that class is all designed around now, not what we did 30 years ago, not the newspapers. And
I'll definitely have to check that one out.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you can always, you're welcome to come. And we're kicking that off in January too. And they're flying in from out of state to teach the class. So it's just a different. So where do you advertise?
You know, it's right now the like you said, it's changed, drastically. And we used to be, Auction Zip. We used to be it was just Auction Zip and Facebook. But now that it's kind of
calmed down.
Yeah, so now we've got it. I would just say word of mouth is one of our. I mean, even our.
How do you get 37,000 people?
We advertise through every type of social media outlet there is. Every type of estate sale outlet that there estate sale.
Estatesale.com.
Exactly. Estatesale.net.org. We advertise through them, and we've been with them for 6 years or so since the beginning. So yeah, I mean, you just gotta. It's continuous. You have to stick with the times. I mean, it used to be to where you can just put a, $20, $30, $40, $100 ad on Facebook, and it would bring you in the bidders. But that's changed now.
Yeah.
It's,
I heard that last week in Las Vegas. Oh, yeah. They were talking about how marketing had changed, and they specifically were talking about Facebook. That Facebook is slowing down.
Exactly.
And people are going to have to find out what the next thing is, because there is always going to be a next thing.
And right now it's just one of those times to where I guess you can say it's similar to the 70s, to where it was kind of a limbo, just a really weird time. But I think right now it's just one of those times to where you just have to stick to your guns and just know what do what you know best.
Yep.
And word of mouth is always the best. I mean, we get some of our best leads, from our buyers, from our bidders. So word of mouth is definitely.
So because we're wrapping up now, and I wanted to just mention or have you tell the folks what your website is, so they can go to you. And then a phone number that they can call if they want to call you directly, and if they've seen this show, just say, hey, I saw you on Mike's show.
Oh, absolutely.
And
we'll pass out a referral for that.
And McGavel,
Sure, absolutely.
So what's your website?
It's Assets2Cash. It's ASSETS, the number 2 cash CASH.net, and you can reach us at 972-672-5403. And we also handle, if you have real estate deals, pass it over to us. We can definitely work something out as far as getting it auctioned for you. So we can do a little bit of everything. I mean, if you have any questions or anything, you can just call us. We're more than happy to answer it for you.
Sure. Well, Anthony, it's been fun.
Mr. Jones, as always.
We didn't have to bleep you once. That's an amazing thing.
I'll say that for the next one.
Yeah. But anyway, I think the world of you, and I've enjoyed knowing you.
Likewise.
You've been fun. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Mike McGavel Jones Show here at Lincoln Center in Dallas, Texas, live and in person. We appreciate everybody joining us. Look forward to you next week. We'll be having another new show, and we'll do that throughout the end of this year and into the next year. We've got a lot of great guests coming up. And so on behalf of everyone that's a part of this, Zach, thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.